Good morning. I thought I would come in really quick and just leave a really quick message. I have a barking dog. I probably am going to have a young goat make noises because I'm bottle feeding, raising one. I'm probably going to have a cat complain. I'm going to have lots of farm goodness happen here, but I'm going to try to get this in here anyway. So I was asking myself, what have I been reading in December? And what I've actually been listening to is by Melanie Leigeshult. I was trying to think of her first name. Melanie Leigeshult. And she has a series called Growing Seasons. And it is about a woman who works in corporate America. And she loses her job. And she ends up, her uncle has to have heart surgery, and her aunt and uncle live back in her like hometown kind of area, and they need her help at the hardware store while her uncle is recuperating. And she goes back because she's not working, so she goes back and helps there, and she finds that a farm that she can rent, and there's a whole story behind it. And so it's her experience as she goes through this whole process, and it takes you season by season, and her growth and the growth of the people around her, and it's just, it's been so rich and so good. I would say the only trigger warning that I can give about it is that each book apparently has to contain one curse word, just one. It's never a big one, it's just little ones, but only one, but it has to contain one, and I don't understand that. Melanie, I think it's kind of an unnecessary decision there. That's the dog. An unnecessary decision there to give us one. I mean, it doesn't even seem to fit the characters. They never say another one. So if I were to actually give some literary criticism or just criticism from a down-home person, the books are so amazing. Skip the one cuss word. We don't need that. The books stand strong without it. The other trigger warning for people, if it's kind of if this is going to bother you, you need to know up front. From the first book, there's a character who has an alternate lifestyle. It is such a small part of the story. It is such an extremely small part of the story. It's mentioned. It takes about 60 seconds per book that it's mentioned. It is mentioned 60 seconds per book. Again, I don't know if this is because in life this is typical life today, or if this is an effort that she's made to fit into modern life with her writing to get an audience. I really don't know what it's about, but because it was such a small part, because I'm really not interested in reading books that involve alternate lifestyles. I'm just not. It's just not for me. But because it was such a small part of the book, and it just really wasn't relevant to the whole entire story, and the whole entire story was just one I loved so much, I just ignored that 60 seconds and kept going, and found such a rich story. I think it's 6 or 7 of them have been narrated. The rest, there's like 10, I think, 10 or 12. The rest have not been narrated. So I've reached the point in the series where I am now having to read instead of listen. Leslie Howard is the narrator that she's used for the first book, so I hope she continues with Leslie, because Leslie Howard's narrating is absolutely some of the most amazing that I have ever heard. And so I will say that our characters are good people, and you really get to know them as you go. And every single character That I would definitely, there's not from our old crusty farmer to our corporate woman who is new to this thing, to the feed store guy, to our alternative lifestyle guy. He is really such a nice guy. I like him so much. He's such a nice character. He just is so helpful, and just such a decent human, and they all are. They're just all such decent humans. And I love where we see our crusty old farm guy and how he gets softened by things that come along that are, there because our corporate gal gone farm girl is bringing a new element to the town. And so these books need to be read in order, because every book builds upon the book before, and they were absolutely incredible books. I just want to read them again and again and again, and can never. I think about the story all the time, and it's been. I started reading it or listening to it in the late October, early November, and literally Thanksgiving Day. I cannot eat Thanksgiving dinner food. I've got some things going on. I just can't eat regular food. I have a special diet, and so nothing for Thanksgiving could I eat. So I cooked Thanksgiving dinner for my family, and then I went outside and went to work because I couldn't eat anything. And I didn't see a reason to make everybody else feel kind of awkward, and they all knew I had work to do, so it wasn't a big deal for them. It was okay. And I went outside and I turned on the book that I was listening to at the time, and I was just like, this is such a good way to spend Thanksgiving. And it was actually, I think it was actually the one that, and the third one, I think, that had Thanksgiving in it, and I just felt so warm and so fed by the story, and it was just such a beautiful experience for me. And so I've shared with you very honestly, not everything in it is for me, but I would say 99.9% is. And so I think that's a pretty good recommendation, by the way, because no matter what book you read or listen to, whatever book you experience, I find in every single book that maybe there's a series that for instance, there was another series that I mentioned earlier by Hope Holloway and Cecilia Scott, the Carolina Christmas series. Oh, I felt so fed by that series, and I've talked about that in another video, but the romance wasn't for me in it. Like, I don't care about romance. That's not really my thing. But the relationships in it were just so amazing. So in that one, I would say probably 90% of the book was for me, or the series was for me, I'm not really into reading about romance. I really don't care about romance, and so I didn't really want that, so that's just not my thing. But, seeing all of these characters build their families and their friends and their community and go through Christmas together and all those things just fed my heart so much. So that's just an example of what I mean. Not everything in every book is going to be for you. And so you just kind of, you have to, I look at every book that I go into and say, I'm going to be open to what in this book I'm going to love, because there's going to be something in this book I'm going to love. And then I'm going to be honest with myself about what I don't love, because there's going to be some stuff I don't love. And so it was just exciting. This was just, this growing season series was really exciting. And I wanted to share that with you, in case you are interested in reading something that feeds your soul what fed mine. I honestly, probably one of the reasons that it's fed me so well is because I relate to our main character so well. Absolutely love how, as she was operating and does operate, because I'm still in the series, on the farm and with the animals and everything, how I just related to that so much. I related to what she's doing. And it came to me at a time when I really needed that. And so I cannot recommend the series more highly. It's just, it's warm, and it feeds the soul. It is inviting. It is, characters are being built, and if you're a person that comes into a series and you want to be able to criticize it, or you want to be able to say, that something, you just want you just want some dish to go on about, and you want something you're looking to nitpick or whatever, this is probably not for you. I wouldn't want you to ruin something so precious. But if you're somebody who you just love such a sweet story about people, something clean. There's no open door scenes and there's no closed door scenes thus far. I'm on the 7th or 8th book, and there's been no open door or closed door scenes. There's been no scenes, and that's been so perfect for me, because that's not where I go with books. Don't care anything about that. But if you're somebody who just wants to kind of tear down, but this won't be for you. But if you're somebody who just really loves warm depth with, good characters, every single one of them is so good. There's not one that I don't love and want as my neighbor. Not one. If that kind of thing speaks to you, you might really love this. I know I'm loving it. And so I just want to share that with you. I hope that Melanie Leideshult keeps writing this series. And if for some reason she chooses to end this series somewhere, I really hope that she writes another one just like it, because I just can't get enough of it. I am just completely and honestly blessed by it. I'm collecting the Audible books on Audible. I will be purchasing the paper copies, and I'm reading the Kindle version right now, but I'll be purchasing the paper copies to put on my shelf so that I can continue going back to the story again and again and again, whether it's an Audible version or the paper copy. And I want to support an author that's written a story that's feeding my heart too. So anyway, thanks for joining me, and I hope you're having a great December.